Live and I'm live. So I was trying to say I'm live, but I'm alive and I'm live. I'm LaShonda, and thank you for coming over to my blog. I just finished reading Exodus chapter 16 on the Everjourney Media Group side of the house. So if you guys have a few minutes and you want to check that out, that is now probably up for you to view. So I wanted to come live tonight because I don't know, I felt inspired. I felt like I wanted to engage in this parasocial experiment that we've all signed up to be a part of. And so I just thought that tonight would be a good night for me to come on. And the topic of discussion tonight is going to be what's a life lesson that you've learned in your lifetime thus far? I'm going to give some folks an opportunity to file in because I know that folks are probably either preparing dinner or just kind of chilling, maybe not know that I'm live. But this video is also for folks who are going to view it on the replay. So the whole premise of me coming up with topics is so that the lives would be more engaging, because I want to not just talk on lives, but also to converse with you guys and to get to know the YouTube community a lot better. So I'm going to, what I would typically be doing around this time would be making content. I'm a content creator. So I am actually working on the Bridges and Boundaries, which is a series that I have on the Everjourney media side of the house. And so I am actually creating the cinematic scenes for a series that I'm going to start centered around friendship dynamics. So you guys may have seen the series that I did on this channel, that it was a 3-part series centered around friendships, how to recognize toxic friendships, how to know when friendships are, shifting into a different season. So if you haven't seen that, I'm going to plug that too, because I think that's also a great way to segue into some of the other things that we'll be talking about on this channel. So the topic tonight, again, is going to be life lessons that you've learned. And I'll start first, but I want to give folks an opportunity to come into the chat, into the live. So I'm going to do what I normally would do, and that is either practice singing or take a few notes. But I'm just going to kind of, move my way around, but I'm live. It's kind of like having you in the office with me while I'm doing what I do. Yesterday, you guys, I had posted a little quick little video, a little cute video of me singing to my daughter to see if she would drive on a road trip that we were on. And I was really surprised at the reception that I got for that video. What I'm coming to understand is that social media, people really do enjoy watching ordinary things. Because I'm sitting there, I was like, I was just kind of messing around, but that's proof that people really do enjoy watching ordinary things. I was just thinking, I was like, Lord, I could probably be washing dishes and come up with little songs and stuff. People probably would enjoy that. So what could I, Thank you. I want to thank everyone for watching the last live. I did a story time on my first single, Wash That Man. And that really warmed my heart that I got some comments and good reception about it. Because I don't know, I often think sometimes, like, do people really take the time to watch my lives or my videos after the fact? And it just warms my heart to know that you do. Um, but yeah, that time was just, I don't know, it feels like a lifetime ago, but in the same token, it was just such a fun time. And so in this season of trying to rebuild my voice and somewhat reinvent myself in a way, um, it's just a reminder to keep going. Because we do these things because we want people to see it, we want people to consume it, we want people to like it. Um, but the first thing is I have to be good and please myself too. So I um, really enjoy singing. It's just one of those things where I don't know. It's a gift, and it's one of those things I can't imagine not doing it. Even at this stage of my career, I just can't imagine not doing it. So I find any reason to sing now that I'm feeling a little better and I'm able to regain a sound that I was accustomed to, if that makes sense. Like, I remember the first moments of trying to sing post surgery, and I was just like, what in the world did they do? Because it was just so strenuous, I guess is the right word. It was a lot of effort. And now it's like I sing and it's not as much effort I'm having to expend when I'm singing. So I had a thought. I wanted to sing something, and I was just thinking, what was the song that I wanted to do? So I'm working on. I have a lot of songs, but there are songs in particular that I wrote during a certain period of time, and I really want to record those. So you may hear me singing those songs kind of in a repetitious way, but that's really just me conditioning my voice to sing them properly. Because when I go in the studio and record them, I want them to sound like something you would listen to on your playlist. Um, there's this one song called I'm Living for Jesus. And I remember like it was yesterday, just in the mirror with my digital recorder, because that was during the time. I don't know if people still use those or not. I still do, because I don't know. It was just a very quick way to put down your ideas. Now that we have the advent of GarageBand on our iPhones and stuff like that, people probably use things like that a little more. But back in the day, my trust tried and true was that Tascam. I had, I shake my camera. I kicked it with my foot. My Tascam was my pride and joy. That thing went with me everywhere. If you saw me, I'm gonna tell you what you saw. If you saw me, you saw my Tascam, you saw some earbuds, you saw some beeswax chapstick, and probably a pack of gum. Those 5 things went with me wherever I went. If I was in the studio, if I was at the store, if I was at the mall, I don't care where I would be. I made sure I had those things with me because they were essential tools to write songs and to memorialize ideas. So I had this song that I copyrighted called I'm Living for Jesus. And I'm going to sing a little bit just to give people an opportunity to come into the live. My heart is bleeding tears. My loved one is gone. But I keep it moving on. And I ain't never gonna stop. I ain't never gonna stop serving you. I can't catch a break. Sometimes I lose my way. But I'm on my knees to pray, and I ain't never gonna stop. I ain't never gonna stop serving you. You said you never ever leaving me alone, so I'm stepping out the safe into the faith zone. I hear you 'cause I turned down all the background noise, when they ask me why I cry. I'm alright when they ask me why I smile. I'm alright 'cause I, I'm living for Jesus. I, I'm living for Jesus. I just had something pop on my screen. I was trying to see what it was. I don't know what that is. Like a sticker or something? I don't really know. I'm living for Jesus. I made some coffee. It's a Costa Rica brew. I love coffee now. I went through a season where I was like, coffee's kind of gross, but when you're older and you've lived a little, you need it. So, what else could I sing? Faith begins where the will of God is known. Without it, it's impossible for us to please Him. Meek for the Master's use, uplift His throne. I know why He created me to be His servant. He ordained me. No, I'm not shrinking, I'm stretching my muscles. I'm not shrinking, I'm stretching my muscles. I'm not shrinking, I'm stretching my muscles. Faith is a muscle of your spirit to grow, to grow, to grow. No, I'm not shrinking. I'm stretching my muscles. I'm not shrinking. I'm stretching my muscles. I'm not shrinking. Faith is a muscle of your spirit to grow, to grow, to grow. Hello. I was waiting for people to join my live. I was like, I don't want to say what I want to say until there's a few people on here. So I'm just singing. I'm doing the things that I would normally do if this camera wasn't on right now. So if this camera wasn't on right now, I would be making content for Everjourney Media, and I would probably be singing. because that's kind of what I do, what I like to do. So I was singing a song that I wrote called The Muscle of Your Faith. So in it, I'm saying, I'm not shrinking. Well, backstory. So I was at church, and I had this habit of when I would go to church, I would write songs based on what the pastor said. Hi, Mary Davis. And I would just write songs based on like what I heard in church. And the pastor was saying, faith is a muscle of your spirit. So when I went home that day, I was like, I'm gonna turn this into a song. So I just was randomly, I think I was cleaning my closet or something, and I was randomly just singing, I'm not shrinking, I'm not shrinking. And it was kind of like, it made me feel like it was like some type of song you would hear like in a Broadway musical or a church play or something. It kind of put me in the mind of that. So I was just randomly singing. I'm not shrinking, I'm not shrinking, I'm stretching my muscles. I'm not shrinking, I'm not shrinking, I'm stretching my muscles. I'm not shrinking, I'm not shrinking. Faith is a muscle of your spirit to grow, to grow, to grow. Okay, so I don't know if a lot of people have been on my channel. If this is your first time, I'm LaShonda, and welcome to I call this my street, because I feel like all of us have our respective channels and our platforms, and this is my street. So if this is your first time here, take a look around. I have a few things that I've posted on my platform that I think you would enjoy. And yeah, if this is your first time joining my live, thank you for coming. And introduce yourself. I would love to hear and see who is here. The purpose of the live tonight is I wanted to talk about a life lesson that I learned. There's been many lessons, and there will always be things to learn as long as you are alive. But I picked one that I thought would be a nice icebreaker for this live. And I want to hear from you guys too. So if you are, no pressure, if you are inclined to share or you want to chime in on anything that I say, or if you would like to share your life lesson, I would love to hear it, because I believe that, one, we don't know everything, and there's always something to glean. As long as you're alive, there's always something to glean from someone else. Good, bad, or indifferent, there's always something to learn. And so I pride myself on always being teachable, always being willing to listen to others. I didn't always master that, but in this season, I'm let's say I'm more aware. I'm more aware of my shortcomings. I'm more aware of the things that I need to work on. So it took a lot of urging, prayer, to start going live. Um, I know it sounds kind of weird because I'm a singer. So you're like, okay, well, if you sing, why would you be tripping about going live on YouTube? Who cares? I cared. I cared because I don't ever want to be on a platform just to be on a platform and saying things just to be saying things. I want to, especially in this season, to be very intentional about my interactions and the things that I say, because I now have more of an awareness that anything that I say could impact someone else. So I I don't know. I'm just, not to be all like, where's she going with this? I'm just more intentional in this season about going live. And it took me a while because I had double jaw surgery. I did not physically feel well enough to go live. I kind of feel my voice trying to crash out, but the devil is a liar. Yeah, 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 yeah. Listen, some stuff you just gotta push through. The devil is a liar. Yeah, 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 yeah. Victory is mine. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Interact with me. I want to see who's on here. If it's just to say hello, y'all ain't gotta be shy. If you hear my husband in the background, that's him probably talking to the TV. He's watching a game or something. Who is on this live with me? If y'all only knew how long it took me to go live, you would be talking me to death, because it took me a long time to go live. I didn't want to. I was like, who's gonna listen to me? Nobody cares. Who cares? Who cares? The independent singer. Okay, we get it. Who cares? But I'm here now. So I'm 22 minutes in and I haven't started talking about what I want to talk about. Life lessons. I really wanted to tell this story with my husband, but then I was like, no, just tell your version and then you guys can talk about your versions together at some point. So topic is, what was your life lesson? My life lesson was let God lead. It's a very broad statement. Let God lead. Let God be your matchmaker and let God lead. So, this story includes prophetic words from multiple people. If you're not a believer of Christ, if you don't believe in God, my prayer is that when you finish looking at this, you will believe. There will be no doubt in your mind that God is real. I am a Christian woman. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I serve at the pleasure of Jesus Christ. And so I'm pausing because I'm trying to figure out like how I want to tell my story So I'm going to skip some parts only because I don't want to give certain people a platform. And say there's some stuff there's some chapters that are truly for a book. Um, so I will omit, and I'll save that for a book. But I'm a girly girl, right? And I had a moment where, hi, I was, so I believe that, and I think I've heard pastors preach on this. I believe that when we are with our parents, we are first dependent because we're being raised and we're being rooted and nurtured and all that good stuff. So I was a dependent at some point in time in my life, and I grew up and I became an adult. But I skipped a step. So dependence meets independence meets interdependence. And the step that I skipped was independence. So I went from my parents to being interdependent. So I missed a step. So I say that to say I've always been. I'm a Gen Xer, so we used to use the term booed up, bunned up. I've had always been booed up, bunned up with someone. And I missed the independent stage. Totally missed it. I didn't get it until less than a decade ago. I'm not going to tell y'all how old I am, but I'm sure over a period of time, you'll be able to ascertain what the age is. So I'm interdependent, and then I'm single. So I had the bright idea. What's the saying? If you want to get over someone, get someone. I don't advise. Ill advise. Don't do that. Do not do that. Because that's you setting yourself up for. Well, number one, if you get out of a situation and you immediately go into another one, you're not healed. You literally just put a Band-Aid on a really big wound that really requires surgery. So I'm dependent and I'm interdependent for many, many years. I said I skipped a step. So I get to a place where I'm independent, and what do? I get booed up. I'm with someone. And I had this thing where I was like, okay, is God in this equation? Probably not, but we're just gonna go with it. And that's not what you do either. So I'm in the dating scene. I'm dating, and I told you this story has prophetic moments. So hello. So I'm dating, and the first encounter was someone that I didn't know, and I can't even remember how this came about. But I was so certain I was gonna be with this person, and just going about life. But there was really no evidence that this was going to go the distance. But this is what I thought. So this random woman has a conversation with me. I think I may have been getting my car cleaned or something. I don't know. I'm trying to remember where I met her at, but let's just say for this story time, I'm at the car getting my car serviced or cleaned, and we're talking about random stuff, and the person that I'm with at the time is there with me, and the woman says, "That's not your husband." And I was like, "You talking to me?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm talking to you." And I was like, "Why do you say that?" Now, mind you, this woman doesn't know me from a can of chicken. She said, "It's just not." And, what do you say when a stranger tells you something like that? And at that moment, I didn't really, I'm a Christian woman, but I didn't even have an awareness that maybe what she was telling me was the active voice of God. I just didn't have an awareness. But she said it, and I kind of tucked it away in my back pocket. And then fast forward, same person. Fast forward, I get a random DM in my Facebook. I don't know this person from a can of chicken either. So I get this DM, and the person says in the DM, "I have a message for you. I really need to talk to you." And I was like, now mind you, I'm semi public. I'm not just on Facebook as LaShonda from high school or people that knew me from back in the day, or relatives and stuff like that. I'm at this point promoting my music. So instantly my radar went off, and I'm thinking, this is probably somebody that is an appreciation of my craft. But no, and he hit me up a couple of times. And so in that moment, I was like, now mind you, I don't really respond to DMs. I had this thing, and I have this rule that I still follow today, that if I'm promoting my music, that's what I'm promoting. I'm not really entertaining strangers in that regard, because I don't know them. And you have to be careful in this environment, because let's face it, there are a lot of undesirable things that go on, and you just have to protect yourself, and you have to be cautious. So, but I also have discernment. So I preface what I'm saying with, I had to take it to prayer, and I had to discern what his intentions was for coming into my DM, which didn't happen a lot, to make a sense of urgency to tell me that he needed to tell me something. So there was a part of me that was cautious, and there was a part of me that was curious. So I did pray about that, and the Lord basically told me that it was okay to. I keep kicking in my phone. Sorry, y'all. I have my stuff on a platform stand, and I keep kicking it. My bad. So after prayer, I was like, I'm gonna respond. So I was asking the person, like, what do you need to tell me? Like, I'm trying to get him to say it in the DM, but he was like, he wanted to talk to me. So I was like, okay, how am I gonna do this? He's hitting me up on Facebook. Oh, I was like, oh, okay, I could just block my number or he give me his number and then I'll block my number. So I did that. So I called, or he called me, or vice versa. I blocked my number, whichever way. I'm getting confused right now. But anyways, so he's on the other end, and he just gets right to it. And this is how I knew it was from God too, because it wasn't a lot of fluff chat. It was like, no, I have a message for you, and I'm gonna deliver it, and I'm now talking to you, so I'm gonna tell you what I gotta tell you. So I'm like, attention. I'm like, okay, what is he going to say? Now, mind you, I'm dating this dude, and at this point, I don't have any pictures. This might have been one of those in between seasons with this dude. I didn't have any pictures or anything that would indicate that I was in a relationship. So he goes, and I wrote it down. I have it somewhere in a book somewhere. But this dude says, you're with someone right now. I just want, the Lord told me to tell you that the person that you're with is not your husband. And he was like, and I'm a paraphrase because I can't really say it verbatim. It's been years ago. But he was like, that man is not your husband. You are not doing anything that is glorifying God with this person. He said, your husband is a pastor. He said, you are a pastor's wife and you're wasting time with this dude. He was like, you're going to have to get rid of that relationship. It's not bearing any fruit. And so I was like, ho, wait. Well, I was like, wait. Time out. What are you saying, Cletus? He was like, your husband is a pastor. You are a pastor's wife. And I said, I think you got me mixed up with somebody else. I was like, I mean, no. He said, no, it's you. He said, I got the right person. I'm talking about you. He said, I know you're not prepared for that. He said, the Lord is going to prepare you, and don't be afraid because you will be prepared. And I still was like, okay, I don't know what he's talking about. Because in that moment, I'm just going to take you in that moment. And I'm sure people can attest to what I'm saying. When you're with someone, you don't care about anything else that's going on. You don't care about what other people are saying. It's not going to resonate in any shape, form, or fashion because your mind in that moment is fixated on what's in front of you. And I can honestly tell you that while I heard his voice and his words, they just didn't penetrate my spirit in the way that they should have in that moment because I was so fixated. And then he said, you're going to have to make a fine line cut. It is going to make you bleed, but you're going to have to cut it. And when he said that like pierced me. And I will say this, while I still didn't take it to the bank, I tucked it away. It made me feel some kind of way when I heard that, because what that said was, this probably won't last. Something's probably gonna happen, and this won't last. And then he told me some other things, about just my future and what I would be doing. And there are actually things that I did do. He told me that I would model, and I did do a little bit of that in my singleness. So, dependent, interdependent. I skipped a step. So I'm with this person, and just going about life and just carrying on. I did tuck the pastor thing in my back pocket, but I didn't I didn't really think much about it. So fast forward, I'm talking to one of my friends, and one of my friends, I won't she gave me permission to talk about her, but she asked that I not mention her name. So I will honor that. I would never mention her name if she didn't want me to. She's been in my life for, oh gosh, probably 15 years now. But she is extremely prophetic. I mean, to the point where I don't want to say scary, because I know now that prophecy is the active voice of God, and it is nothing to be afraid of. But for someone at the time who was a babe in Christ, and someone's telling you things and they're true and they know stuff, it can be a little jarring at first. Um, but she was one of the ones who sat me down one day, and she told me that the person I was with was not my husband either. So you got now three people saying the same thing. So I was like, okay, well, if it's not him, what do he look like? So she goes to describe the person who is to be my husband, and I immediately started sinking in my chair, because I was like, you're not describing the person that looks like the person I'm with. So I was like, uh-oh, this really ain't the person, right? But I kind of just kept that to myself. But she went on to describe how he looked. And she was like, while the person you're with is not your husband, she said, I just want you to understand and know that when he comes into your life, it's going to be glorious. It's going to be, how did she say it? She said, this marriage is being orchestrated by God. She said, it will be like a love you've never known before. You've never known a love like this. And I was like, what? I'm captivated by her words, because they're so, she's not one of those people. She don't talk just to talk. When she got something to say, it's coming from up there, from the man. But she's like, she's describing his attributes, um, and she made me take inventory, and I just allowed myself to, I'm walking y'all through how I was feeling. I just allowed myself to just drift into a daydream, and allow myself to visualize what could this experience be like. So I was like, well, how am I gonna meet him? If that ain't the guy, how am I supposed to meet him? And she was like, No one's going to introduce you. God is going to introduce y'all. She was like, you will meet, your commonality will be music, but you will not be introduced by anyone. And she said that he was younger, he was tall, he was a dancer, he loved music, he loved looking after things. And so when you hear that, you're like, you instantly, I think it forced me to take inventory again and think about, I've had 3 people now tell me that this person is not the person. And let me say this. Just because the person isn't the person, because I want to make sure I'm clear about this, it doesn't make the person a horrible person. It just doesn't. I think we tend to, when we share our testimonies about people that we've once, been in relationships with, there's a tendency to want to bash or make them this horrible person. And that's not what this story is about. So I just want to preface and say that. But it did, like I said, it did force me to take inventory of what the landscape was currently in the relationship I was in. And I was like, stuff ain't adding up. This ain't it. Ain't none of the stuff she's saying is going on over here on this street. So, but I still allowed myself to be intertwined and, interdependent with this individual. Fast forward, things are not going nearly the way that I would like for them to go. At this point, things are starting to go. Hold on, let me take a sip of coffee. Hold on. There's trouble in paradise, I should say that. It's a Sunday morning, and I needed some work done in the house, so I had hired a handyman. I don't even know how I found him. I may have gone through. I'm on live, Amy. I may have, I forgot how I found this handyman. But anyway, so I needed some work done in the house. I had some plumbing done. I had a garbage disposal replaced. Just some random stuff. So the guy comes in and I'm probably listening to a church service. Very nice guy, young guy, family guy. I paused what I was doing because I always want to make sure that I am fully engaged when someone is in my home, so they don't feel like, oh, I'm just here to work. So he finishes the work. I think we had spent a few minutes talking about his family, his kids, his wife, and then he leaves. He comes, I had paid him, so, he took his tools and he left. But then he came back, rings my doorbell, and he says, do I have a moment? He said the Lord told him to come back because he needed to tell me something. So now, mind you, I heard 3 people tell me So he would be number 4. So I was like, he was like, okay, so I'm going to try to remember exactly what he said. He rings the doorbell. I answer the door. Because I thought maybe he left some tools behind or something. So he goes, do you have a moment? He was like, I really need to tell you something that the Lord impressed on my heart. And I was like, come on in. I sat down. I was like, I'm kind of used to this, so I'm not even like feeling any kind of way about it. Come on in. Have a seat. And he says, normally, he said, I just want to preface this by saying, normally when the Lord impressed on my heart to tell somebody something, he said, I get scared. And sometimes I tell them, and sometimes I don't. He said, because I'm always afraid of confronting them. And he said, I just get afraid. He said, I get nervous. And so he said, he said, the Lord has had to deal with me about that because I have, in some instances, walked away and not said anything to the person. He says, so first of all, thank you for being receptive to what I have to say to you. He said, I'm pausing because I just want to make sure that I gather my thoughts. So I want to remember exactly what he said. He said, there's a man in your life, and he said, I don't know how serious you two are. He said, but the Lord told me to tell you that that man is not your husband, and that relationship, or that individual rather, I think he was more focused on the individual, that individual is not bearing any fruit. He said, you need to end that relationship. He said, you seem like a really nice person, and the Lord knows what you desire. You desire to be a wife, but he is not your husband. And then he told me some other things that I won't repeat, but I'll put it to you this way. It was, I'm sometimes the person that I know that God loves me because it took 4 tries, 4 attempts to reach me here, to hear, to receive the active voice of God speaking to me. So when he said that, that was the moment when I got it. And it made me sad because I wasn't like, I don't know, there was a sense of relief, but there was also a sense of sadness because I knew what I had to do. So I called the person and and I told the person what the guy said. And that was the end of that. That was the end of that. God is good. He knows what we need. He knows what we don't need. He knows the desires of our heart. And he sent strangers to speak on his behalf, to get my attention. And that's how I know God is real. There is nothing that anyone on this planet could tell me God is real. Fast forward, it is 2020. And I am finally independent. I told y'all I skipped a step. Sometimes the steps happen in reverse. So I'm independent, and it feels wonderful. It feels the way that it should have felt to begin with. I am in the studio. I'm creating music. I am writing with. At this point, I think I'm writing with Tasha LaRae of Arrested Development. I am promoting Free to Love, one of my singles. And I'm downtown taking pictures, and it's just a fun time. What I didn't know was that we would be dealing with something else that year. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say, and then they flag my live as if I'm talking about that, which I'm not. That's a whole nother conversation. Put that in the book. So 2020 comes, I'm on live, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on all these different platforms promoting Free to Love. And one day I see this guy, and I was like, oh, he's cute. Now, mind you, I told y'all I am the I'm promoting, but I ain't looking for nobody to bun up with. And there were a couple people, like I wrote a song about it. There were a couple people that I had to block and, yeah. I don't know what was going on in 2020, but guys in 2020, kind of sidebar, guys were just tripping in the DMs. They were doing the most. And I wrote a song called Calamity about that time, because I just had a lot of really random weirdos in my DMs, for no reason, just being weird. But I knew this guy wasn't weird. So he started liking my pictures. And I was like, okay, he's cute. And you immediately start looking at the profile, the bio. And the first thing I saw when I saw the bio, what y'all think I saw when I saw the bio? Any guesses of what I saw when I saw the bio? It said he was a pastor. Ding! So immediately I was like, okay, I think he's cute. He's a pastor though. God? Is that my husband? And God didn't answer me. So I took that to mean no. So fast forward, and I'm gonna give you the abridged version because some versions are just for for privacy's sake. But fast forward, he reaches out, I reach back, and that really was the beginning. I would say the infancy stages of a friendship budding. Um, and I thought back to what my friend said, and she said no one would introduce you. So I'm now connecting dots, and I'm asking God again, is this my husband? And he didn't answer me. So talk on the phone eventually to this person. Now mind you, I still have the same mindset that I had with the prophetic person. You ain't getting my phone number. And that didn't happen for a while. I was like, I'll talk to you, but I'm not giving you my number. It's not happening. Sorry. I'm a lady. And I'm cautious. So, anyways, talking on the phone and just a really great interaction, organic, laughed a lot, kind of far, but maintaining a friendship, a genuine friendship for quite some time. And fast forward, I know I'm abridging this, years later, that budding friendship ended up being my husband. Yes. So I took God not answering me initially because it was not time to release that. But what I can tell you is before the promise, before God releases a thing, the enemy has a way of trying to thwart the plans of the Lord by sending you the counterfeit. And I preface this by saying the counterfeit isn't always a horrible person, because the counterfeit in this instance isn't a horrible person. But I will say this, the timing of the counterfeit coming into the fold, I think was trying to throw me off, because the counterfeit, I'll just say it this way without saying too much, had 85% of what the package had, but it was still the counterfeit. So I had to recognize through discernment and prayer that that truly was the counterfeit over there. And this was the real thing. And everything she said was true to form. And I now know was the active voice of God speaking through these people. Because everything she said was true. And that's the test. You know, when someone prophesies to you, test it. And the test was that it was true. The things that the young man said, it was true. So, yeah. I'm telling this story. It's a weeknight. It's rather late. I probably left things out, and that's probably a good thing because what it does is it gives me an opportunity to tell it again to a different audience that may not have had the benefit of hearing my voice tonight. And it gives us an opportunity at some point together to tell the story because I'm sure he'll have a whole different perspective than I. Um, and, I can put it in a book one day. So, the lesson that I learned was wait on the Lord. Let the Lord be your matchmaker. When you try to orchestrate your own plans, you have a tendency of, you're not God, so you will inevitably mess it up. You will pick wrong. You will not fashion the person who is ordained and is supposed to be in your life. And that is the biggest lesson that I've learned in my years. um, yeah, life is it's interesting. God showed me something definitely in that season, and I I'm more aware to be an active listener in this season of life as a result of that. Because before, and I've had people prophesy to me before that, just about things about myself. But because I didn't really understand that that was the active voice of God speaking, I would just tuck it in the pocket and keep it moving. And now I have a totally different appreciation and awareness for how he speaks and the importance of heeding his words and not jumping ahead of. And that's, I think I did a video on my other platform where I talked about how God doesn't give you the whole movie. He just gives you kind of like a highlight reel for that reason. Because I think and my husband can attest to this too, I think he would probably say this as well. What happens is if God would have told us back then, oh yeah, BJ's your husband, da 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 da. Like, you have a tendency of trying to, now mind you, let's say he told us that and we weren't ready. It's premature. There are things that need to take place. There may be lessons that need to be learned along the way before the promise. So I was praying and he never said no. That's the other key thing I want to impress upon the listener of this. He never said no. He just did not answer. And that's different. When he finally did release that was my husband, that was something that he confirmed with me. And that's something that he also confirmed with him. So let's talk about it. So when he did confirm that BJ was my husband, Pastor BJ, if those of you don't know, he is a pastor. When he confirmed it, I made a point. I was like, my Maryland came out. I was like, I don't care what we talking about, what's going on. I am not going to tell him that the Lord said you. I was like, not doing that. So I made it my mission. I wasn't going to say a word. Because I was like, if he is, the Lord will confirm that with him individually. I didn't have to say a word. And that's exactly how it went down. He confirmed it with me, and he confirmed it with him, and then we came together. That's how that works. I see people, which really like makes me cringe 1,000 times when I see women getting down on one knee proposing to a dude. Stop doing that. Don't do that. You are completely out of order when you do that. Don't ever do that. Um, but yet I see it on the socials. I've seen it a lot. And so, or they'll be like, or even vice versa. The guy might be like, that's my wife, that's my wife. And the woman doesn't feel the same. That ain't your wife. Because that is one of those times, and I know because I've experienced it, where the Lord will confirm it with the two of you. If that's not happening, that is going to definitely be the recipe for an Amos 3 and 3. When you have two individuals that come together and they're unequally yoked. So Amos 3 and 3 says, can two walk together except they be agreed? So if you are familiar with scripture, you know that the yoke is the harness for the animal. And so if you have two different size animals being yoked together, they're not going to be able to pull in the same direction. You're going to have one trying to buck and go that way, and you're going to have another one trying to go this way. They are not together. They're not the same. So, yeah, that was a beautiful time. I like recounting those moments because, and we have moments where we'll talk about, like, we'll just recount those moments because they're really precious moments. But the other portion of that, the dating side of it, I had to go through that, and I don't have any regrets, or I think that was my training ground, or the Lord knew, so I was being protected at every turn, obviously, because there was LaShonda and BJ that were supposed to happen, not this other situation. So I'm just really grateful that I know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that he loves me, and he loves me. Woo, yeah. There's some people you gotta beat over the head with a brick, not in the literal sense. I'm talking figuratively. YouTube, because YouTube will be like, she said blah, 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 blah. No, that's not what she said. Figuratively, I would have to say I'm one of those people, but I have graduated because but I was that girl where you had to like put it in my face. The handyman showing up at my door, that's putting it in my face. Yeah. Nice man. Very respectful man. And I could tell he was scared. He didn't, I wasn't like gonna go black girl on him or nothing like that. Ka-da! But I think he was probably like, she gonna think I'm a weirdo. She gonna be like, why is he coming back to my house? But I think there was a sense of peace that came over me, and I knew instantly that the Lord sent him. I can't really explain it any better than that. Like, I just knew that that's what was going on with that situation. Hold on, y'all. I think I'm gonna have to, because I don't know how to pause these lives. Hold on. Hold on. I'll be right back. Ooh. I'm coming back. Sorry, you guys. I had to do something very quickly, but I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Okay, so I don't even know if there's a way I can edit that so you don't see the pause part. I would say fast forward. So I think that's all I wanted to say about that. Um, yeah, I've always wanted to share this story in a respectful way. Because, like I said, I think what tends to happen is, you know, we find, or the Lord releases our person, and all of a sudden we want to make the other person bad, like the bad news bears or something. And it's not that. It's just, you know, some situations just don't work out. You wish them well, you wish them peace, and then you move on. And that's essentially how that went down. Um, yeah. I don't know who's still on with me, if there's anyone still on, but I make these lives because I know that they're not just for the moment, they're not just for today, they're for tomorrow. They're for tomorrow. And my prayer is that they will resonate with the people that need to hear it, that the words that I say um, glorify God, glorify the Lord, because I don't ever want people to feel like, I guess the other takeaway of what I'm saying is, excuse me, I want people to have hope. Like I went through a season when I was independent, and I was like, God, are you ever going to send my spouse? Like, I was feeling kind of like a little downtrodden about it, because here I was, I'm independent. I'm raising my daughter. I am immersing myself into the Bible. I'm devotionals, listening to men of God. And I knew that I didn't desire a life of singleness. That was not in the cards at all. And there's no shade to people that are called to singleness, because I believe that there are people that have a grace for singleness. That's not what I prayed for. And so I had prayed, and I can't think of the young lady's name, but there was this one lady. I think she's still a content creator on YouTube, but she had this prayer, and if I find it, I'll put it in the community. But it was this very well written, thought out prayer that she prayed when she was asking the Lord to send her husband. So she had took the time to write out this prayer, and I found her channel one day, and I would go into my prayer closet, and the way she had the prayer structured, I gotta find this prayer, because this is everything. She would say the prayer, and then we would basically repeat the words that she would say in her prayer. So I every night for about at least a week or two, I would go into my prayer closet, and I would have her content on YouTube, and I would be on my knees, and I would be praying this prayer to God every night. This how I know God is real too. So I was praying this prayer one night. The Holy Spirit was like, I know what you want, LaShonda. Stop praying that prayer to me. It's already been answered. And I don't know about y'all, but when the Lord speaks, how I know it's him is because I don't talk to me like that. I I just don't. And when God speaks to me, it's very few words, but they're always straight to the point. And the point was, you don't have to pray that prayer to me anymore. It's been answered. Yeah, that gets me emotional. I'm sorry. Hi, Fab Four. Yes, I remember you, of course. Hello. Yeah, that gets me every single time. That God would, it's like God's like, you. I'm paraphrasing. I know God don't talk like this, but it was like God was saying, you are wearing that prayer out. Stop praying that prayer. I don't know. I just had a moment where I was like, God, did you forget about me? And of course he didn't. He did not. But I also believe that he allowed me a season of singleness. So, one, that I could focus on him, and two, I could prepare myself for my husband, because there was a preparation that needed to happen to prepare for that man. And oh, you're so welcome. Yeah, I love responding to comments. I'm on live now. I'm talking about, so the topic tonight was what's a life lesson that you learned? And my major life lesson, which I have many, but the one that came to mind today was to listen to God and to let God lead your life. That was my contribution to this discussion tonight. I am so welcome, and you are not forced to provide, um, to give me your life lesson. You are welcome to if you want to, but oh, I thought I heard something. Oh, I thought that this would be a good way to interact with my YouTube community. Um, so I'm always going to go first. Thought it would be fitting to share my testimony of how I met my husband and just the events in my life that kind of led up to that event. I often say that there are things that um, should remain private. So I try to find that line where I'm not oversharing, but I share enough because I want to give people hope and to let people know that um, the Lord is out here advocating for us at every turn. Yeah, so um, that's kind of my testimony. I've been on now for 86 minutes, which is my record. I think this might be my longest live. Um, and I always tell people too, like the people that are on right now, I so love and appreciate you. But there's also people that will watch this later. Today I went to a camp at a temple called Temple Judea, and we learned about what it means to you to be a Jew and what are some traditions is what I learned today at camp. Oh, really? Was it very enlightening? Did you have a good time there? That's cool. That is really cool. I did a Bible reading today on my other platform. So I read Exodus chapter 16 of the King James Version. That's what I did today. It was really fun. They have a pool. Oh, nice. Oh my gosh, it's been so hot. So I know being able to swim today was probably very refreshing. It's so hot. I think our record today was 106. It was extremely hot today. I thought I was gonna melt out there. But stay hydrated, whatever you do. Oh, well, that's special. Were you excited to be able to do that? That's special. You should write that down. You should record your memories of that so you can remember that moment. That's special. That is so special. Well, I'm glad to hear. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad to hear that everything went well today. Will you be able to go back tomorrow? Glad to hear that. It's always great to be able to interact with you guys. I'm definitely going to make it a point to come on here more often and more frequently. I mean, not every live has to be this long, but I could come on and just to say hi and stuff. I'm going for two. Oh, wow. 2 more weeks. That's cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. Oh, I really appreciate that. And thank you for the hearts and I see smiley faces and 100%. I like that. I like that. Yeah. I'm gonna definitely make it a point to come on here. Like I said, at least once a week, maybe twice a week. It just really depends. But I think there's a lot we can glean from one another, and I think the more I go live, the more people will eventually come on. So what I'm going to do on a weekly basis is come up with a poll, but you guys are more than welcome to leave in the comments suggestions of things that we could discuss on the lives. My only ask is that just for ground rule purposes, because I don't have a moderator at this time, for everyone to just be respectful. No cursing, no profanity, no vulgarity, no, just really just love, peace, and respect. I've been on other lives for other people, and people get really, I don't know what it is about when you go live. People just feel like they can say anything to people, and that's wrong. So I'm going to be a Mother Hubbard in that regard and say that there will be a zero tolerance policy over on this side of the street. Because, yeah, we're not doing that. But I trust that people will be respectful for the most part. But the thing is, you have to still say it. You have to still say it. Because if you don't, people just, I don't know. I went through this in 2020. I'm not even going to say the things that were going on in the DMs, but I don't know. People just, I don't know. That was a season, I think, when people just didn't have a filter. People didn't have a filter. So, yeah. So that's what's going on this side of the world. I just thought I'd share one of the joys of my life, and that is the man that I'm doing life with. And yeah, he's amazing. And God sent him. Yes, literally. I remember someone saying to me, girl, you got to get out, because God ain't going to just send your husband like a FedEx package. That's a lie. Yes, he did. He sure did send him like a FedEx package. He sure did. I'll drink to that. I'm drinking coffee. Yeah, great times. I'll have to share in another live. I won't do it here, but I'll share one of the ways that the Lord prepared me for BJ, because I think that would be an important testimony to share too. So table that at 92.51 seconds. Yeah. I actually did a video about, oh no, it's okay. Have a great evening. I actually did a video, a Testify by LaShonda video that speaks to this preparation, but I will share that on another live at another time. So, yeah, hope everyone enjoyed listening to my live. It will be a replay once I hit that button. Trying to think of anything else I think you'd want to hear or know. I'll close out with some singing, because I just feel like singing. A good dear associate sent me the Seth Riggs and MJ vocal warm-up, so I've been doing that. It is a challenge, but not one that I'm willing to say I can't do it. It's a challenge in a good way, because what it does is it gives me something to aspire to. So I've been doing it, and it's been a lot of fun. Yeah. Life is good. Life is good. I like this season of my life. I have to talk about this season of my life too in another live, because this season is calmer, intentional, God-led. it's a healing season. It's a season where I'm, just really taking my time, not being in such a rush. Like before I felt like, gotta get it done, gotta get it done, gotta get it done, gotta get it done, gotta get it done. And now it's like, I know what I have to do, but I don't feel like I'm under the gun. I don't feel like, I don't feel this pressure. And if anybody can relate to what I'm saying, you know exactly what I'm saying. It's like when you've lived a little, there are a lot of things that you've already done. There are mistakes that you've made that you've learned from. There are triumphs. There are peace seasons. And I feel like this is a season where I feel calm and at peace, if that makes any sense. Yeah, it's a good place to be. Yeah, I have a college graduate. Shout out to UCF, my daughter's alma mater, and it feels great. Life is good. Life is good. I'm just thinking like, what else can I do in this season? What else would I want to do in this season? Because I've done a lot of things. I've done a lot of things that I've always wanted to do, if that makes sense. So, I don't know. I know God has something up his sleeve, and he'll surprise me with some things. I've learned to be open and just kind of like, I've lived enough where I know that you have to be ready for anything. So, yeah. Oh, speaking of that, I'm in another live. I'm not going to do it on this one. I'm going to write this down because I want to remember. I'm going to tell you guys about a time when the Lord, without any warning, put me in a situation. And I can't give you like too much detail, but I could give you my side of it. And then I'm probably going to have to cut the story time off to a point because of other reasons. But I think it's a good story because it's one of those, don't always stay ready. Don't, what's the saying? Always be ready. Be at the starter gate because you never know when something's going to happen and you have to move. That's the story. What else? I'm at 99 minutes, so I think this might be a good place to stop. I think I should probably do these long lives on weekends because everybody's probably getting ready for work days and all that good stuff. But okay, if nobody else is on, my prayer is that for the people that view this live, it's coming from the heart, and I pray that it resonates with you in some shape, form, or fashion, and that you're blessed by it. Because that's really the whole point. I could get on here, which I'm sure you probably know by now, I'm a talker. But I don't want to just do lives just to be talking. I want to do lives to impact lives, to impart things that are useful, um, to share a little bit of myself, but to also be obedient to my walk, my Christian walk. So, all right. If there are no other comments or questions, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe freely if you want to. There's no pressure, but we'll just have a series of chats. And I like this because this feels more relaxed. This feels more natural. Before I had the house lights on, and it gets really bright and hot in here. But this feels more like just a conversation with friends, and this I don't feel like I'm having to focus on the camera, and I could just kind of be loungy and feel like I'm being myself in my element. So thank you. I'm LaShonda, and until we meet again, God bless.